Fine. Yeah. Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. And if everyone would stand to join us in the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, minutes. Anything? What? One set of minutes for Commissioners meeting on June 16th, 2026. I would entertain a motion.
Motion made, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and since Craig's not here, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any reports, Helen?
I have none.
None? You, Commissioner?
I have no report.
All right. Correspondence?
I have none.
Nothing. Okay.
The only correspondence I got that I wanted to mention today was we got a request from Triple Tree Engineering for Basin Water Sewer to put in for a CDBG grant application. And the CDBG grant applications are typically sponsored by the county because they go through the county. The engineer typically does all the administrative work on it. We just get the documents that we sign, and they give us the money, we pay the bills, so it's kind of a pass-through deal, but we can only sponsor so many CDBG grants at a time, and I think we're sponsoring 2 of them right now. Triple Tree is trying to get the state to allow us to do 3. Basin can do a planning grant for their water sewer system, so it's a quick turnaround on this planning grant right now, so I need to know like this week to be able to send that. It's just a letter of support for that planning grant for the CDBG, and that the county agrees to sponsor it. So I typically don't even mention it in the meetings, we just do it because everybody's usually on board, but unless you have a problem with it, I'll go ahead and do that letter of support and get it sent back in so Basin can at least get in the running for that CDBG grant for the planning. There's another one coming up too that's a maintenance grant or a actual construction grant, but that one doesn't need to be done yet. So that was all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, sir. I don't have anything, so calendar review.
Okay, tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. is the solid waste safety meeting. And then Commissioner Kirsch is going to Miles City. Is that where you're gonna be?
Yep, Thursday morning.
Thursday and Friday survey review tomorrow. Survey review. Or Thursday?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Maybe.
possibly. And it's. Okay, put that down. I think it's Commissioner Doolittle's Friday, and I have nothing on Monday.
Any additions or changes?
I do. Tomorrow after my solid waste safety meeting, I've got a safe drinking water committee advisory meeting in Helena. That's with the DNRC. I'm part of that state advisory committee. I'll be running into Helena first thing in the morning, and then I've also got Clancy Water Sewer tomorrow evening at 6:30, and then I'll head to Miles City first thing in the morning and won't be back till Friday night. And I think that's all I have.
Okay,
Okay,
the only other thing I got to add is next Monday, which I can't make, the Piedmont Pond meeting in Whitehall. In regards to that, and then that's when we're gonna meet for all our budgets. And that's all I've got. Okay. Commissioner, let's see, calendar review, commission reports, Commissioner Kirsch.
all right, last week, Wednesday morning, we had a Zoom meeting with the federal. I'm trying to think what he's from. He's from Vancouver, Washington, but he's in charge of our flap grant for the Cataract Road project. It was just kind of a get to know each other, get together and kind of give us a down low on what that project's going to look like. We're going to do a site visit this summer with engineers, geotech, and environmental. This is all federal stuff, so I'm not sure who those people will be, but we're gonna all get together up there and look at the project, and they're gonna develop a budget after the site visit. I'm gonna develop a memorandum of understanding between the county and the federal government for that project. And probably it's gonna be 2 years before we actually start that project. Next year will be advertised and bid out probably in 2027. So we won't start until 2028, and that's the slide there above Saturday Night Bridge. Is the Saturday Night Bridge there? Is that what that's called? Where it's really steep there?
Yeah, Saturday Night Hill and depth of bridge.
Yeah, it's where it's cut in there so steep and there's nowhere to go inside or outside. So they're gonna look at that and see how we can get that widened out and fixed so you can actually drive through there without the risk of falling off down into the river. So that was my meeting last week, and I think that was about all I had. This morning, I guess we met with the maintenance department and talked to Pat for a little bit. He's doing an outstanding job around the campus everywhere he's working. The lawn, if you didn't notice, looks outstanding out here. He always does a super good job with that. They're looking for a new used pickup just for their maintenance, for driving here and there and doing maintenance off campus. So they'll be looking for something that's decent to replace their old brown one that's kind of held together with bubble gum and duct tape. As you can see, also they're painting the dormers, those high dormers. We had to rent a high lift to get up to those dormers. We did some of the other dormers last year, I think, but the lift wouldn't reach all the way to the very top dormer, so we had to get a different lift in. We got the fire alarm systems upgraded in this building and in the courthouse building. They did an upgrade in the annex to the treasurer's office building that will notify him if the sprinklers go off in the basement. I guess years ago, the sprinklers went off, nobody knew. There was a bell going off outside, but nobody knew what that was for as the basement was filling up with water from the sprinklers. So now he should get a text or some kind of notification on his phone as soon as that sprinkler turns on for whatever reason. Backup generators, we're getting them online. Ginger got a grant for this building to get the backup generator system figured out. So she's got all the wiring done, got a backup generator stored away that we can pull over here in a moment's notice to be able to keep this building up and running. We're looking at during our budget meetings to figure out if we can do any other buildings. We'll probably do the fairgrounds just so we have kind of secondary emergency operations place out there, or a shelter at the volunteer hall. So we can, if we have another event like we did back in December, that we have a place for people to go and warm up or charge their cell phones, whatever, just so we have a secondary place. We struggled with any place in Boulder that had generator or had heat for any kind of a shelter. In December, it was nice that it wasn't really cold in December, but it would have been a different story if it was cold. So we'll be a little bit more prepared this time. And I can't think of anything else that he talked about at that meeting. We can expound on that, Mr. Chairman, if you think of anything I missed.
No, we pretty much covered all of that.
That's it.
All right, thank you, sir. And on mine, last Thursday was a library board meeting in Whitehall, and they pretty much finalized their yearly budget, this upcoming budget. And then they also have a new candidate that they forwarded on to me in terms of acceptance. So we'll be looking at that and put it on the agenda. It was only one application out of all after it being posted in the newspaper. And then last night we had the Parks, Trails, Recreation. And pretty much, I'm trying to think of what we covered off the top of my head. My mind just went blank. By you. What comes to mind? It just write it all down. Oh, one of them was the acceptance of now there's 10 people that can be on the board as opposed to 7 from before. Is it 10? Right? 9, excuse me, 9, 2 more. Okay. Oh, okay. I know what you're saying. 6 and then 7. Yep. So that's done and over with. So they'll end up posting in the paper for more applicants for that. And then we talked about Saddle Mountain. Pretty much Bruce talked about getting some more resources or revenue in the terms of being able to put up some new picnic tables and doing something with the concrete and then the basketball court. And I can't think of what else, but they voted last night to go ahead and move forward with that and continue to get the items needed as such. Rattlesnake Butte, I guess it's been pretty busy. There's been some concerns there, but they're getting ready to. As soon as we move forward a little more, they've got the signage and stuff. They just haven't put it up yet. They're waiting for the finalization of things that we're waiting through as the commission. And Piedmont Wetlands Project, we'll be discussing that. So let's see, that was, and then pretty much the consensus was that everybody's hopping. There's a lot of people out there now, campers, the whole 9 yards, more so than most of us have ever seen before in a long time. That most of them are all taken, no matter what. You're meeting a lot of traffic. So other than that, that's all that comes to mind. And then down there at Pipestone, they've got that campground. It's starting to pick up quite a bit. It's slow to start, but they had talked about maybe engaging and having a working with them and having contact as for the Parks, Trails, Recreation, and having communications with them so that they can keep them in a loop. And I think that was pretty much it. Okay. With that being said. Oh, hey.
Hey, guys.
Okay, we're gonna move into, opportunity for public comment. Right now, this is an opportunity for anyone that wishes to comment that is not on the agenda, that has anything to say. That we cannot vote on it, but if you, prior to your comment, if you would identify yourself prior to that, is there anyone that has any public comment at this point? Okay, we all know what we're here for then. Okay, then we're gonna go into subdivision review. Subdivision amendment, Kilpack Minor and Muddy Dog subdivisions.
Alright, thank you. The planning staff received a request to remove 100-foot no-build zone in 2 subdivisions. It's the Kilpack Minor subdivision was split into 5 lots, and then lot 5 was split into create the Muddy Dog subdivision. So we're gonna kind of talk about 2 subdivisions here. Greg and Renee Olson did put in a request to remove a 100-foot no-build zone. This is property located North Jefferson County off McClellan Creek. Like I said, it's the Kilpack and the Muddy Dog subdivisions. While the Olsons have submitted the request, we do think it's smart to remove or to amend the whole zone, just so that we don't have duplicate reviews coming in and in. It'll be 4 lots on the western side. The Muddy Dogs Homeowners Association did meet October 16th of 25 to discuss the removal of this zone. All property owners in attendance did agree. They voted and signed. They also received signatures from the Kilpack Minor subdivision property owners and 1 adjacent property owner. We noticed a public hearing and sent the notices to all the Kilpack Minor subdivision Muddy Dog property owners and adjacent property owners. 2 of them were to the west. We did receive 1 comment from Keith Wing, and he stated that he was against the proposed changes due to the restricted area being an essential part of the sale agreement. When they did the Wing family transfer, he was not able to provide documentation because he is currently living in South Dakota and will be back till July. We did some more research based off of Wing's comments, and we did find certificate of survey 188349 that was done in 1999. And on that survey, it has established a restricted area which no structures requiring domestic water and or sewer services were permitted. It did not create the 100-foot no-build zone. It does appear that the county was not aware of the verbiage that was on this survey when they did the subdivisions and wrote in a 100-foot no-build zone instead of the no domestic water or sewer. The planning staff believes that we cannot totally remove the 100-foot zone because we did not put that on there. It was something that the Wings put on part of their family transfer. It was not a condition for a zone that we had put on there. We could choose to amend the verbiage of the conditions of approval number 8, and with it reading, in the 100-foot no build zone locations, no structures requiring domestic water and sewer shall be permitted. The Consolidated Land Use Board and Planning staff does recommend amending the verbiage to return to the original requirements that were on the certificate of service or survey and make it clear for future. There's no, in the findings of facts, there's nothing that needs to be changed. In the conditions of approval for Mighty Dog subdivision, they did not have anything for the no build zone. The covenants for both Kilpack and Muddy Dog will need to be changed. We have talked to the property owners about that. If the county chooses to amend the verbiage to the condition of approval number 8 in the Kilpack minor subdivision, approval letter should be recorded with Jefferson and Quick Recorders and just to bring clarity to the public. So our recommendation is that the planning staff and the Consolidated Use Planning Board recommendation is to amend condition of approval number 8 of the Kilpack minor subdivision as stated in your report.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner?
Yeah, it seems pretty clear. I'm just kind of curious whether the restriction was just taken out of context or wasn't from this document to this document. Is that essentially how it went?
That's our understanding. I mean, it was done before we were here, so it was kind of hard to go back. And that's what Mr. Wing was saying, that the condition of the sale was on that survey. It said it's no water sewer. We don't know why it got changed to 100-foot no zone, build zone, but that was what the Wings originally wanted as part of their, when they did the family transfer and part of their sale to the owners of the Kilpack subdivision. So we're just wanting to clear up language that we messed up.
But there was no language obviously in the subdivision approval that said it was a no build zone and not just a water sewer type thing.
Yeah, the condition of approval number 8 said it was a no 100% no build zone, but it should have said the
The
water.
water
and
sewer
sewer.
part of it, okay. So there, we're not missing anything in between that would have required that, the 100-foot no build zone.
No, there's nothing in the subdivision.
So that's where it would have been, I'm assuming, if it would have changed from the water sewer to a strict no build zone period, it would have been in the subdivision approval somewhere,
Right, there was nothing in there.
okay.
And all I could think of was that it was just, when they wrote it up, it was just easier to call this thing a no build zone. And they weren't paying attention to, it wasn't strictly a no build zone, it was certain structures
Gotcha.
that would be built there. And we just did strictly a no build zone.
And this letter from, Mr. Wing, I guess, is what he was referring to was the one that you came up with that is just a water sewer.
Yeah, that's all we could find.
Okay, perfect. I think that was my only question, Mr. Chairman.
So I don't see where it has decided at this point. Do you see that?
We're deciding on the amendment.
Okay,
It
that's
doesn't
what I
say
wanna know.
decide, But
Yeah.
it is a
And
decision on the
I just wanna
amendment,
make
yeah.
sure. Okay. Okay, if not, I don't have questions, and you don't, so I would entertain a motion.
I would move that we go ahead and approve the subdivision amendment for Kilpack Minor and Muddy Dog subdivision, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and since Commissioner Doolittle isn't here, I would second that. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Lindsay.
Okay.
Okay, now this is, it's not time. Discuss and decide on letter of support for truck rest area sign at Whitehall interchange. What that is I've talked to town hall, all the folks with, or a lot in, Whitehall Chamber. What's going on is there's a rest area sign prior just to the exit in the westbound lane, mile marker 249. That says truck parking and a rest area truck parking, and it allows you to put whatever number of open areas that those trucks can park in, which in this case, they're referring to Delmo or up on top of Homestake. And all it is a place to pull off, and it's not a rest area more so. It's more of a layover area for truckers, but they do have porta potty and that kind of stuff. But what's been determined here is the folks that are in Whitehall itself, they're losing business because it indicates to them that that Whitehall has nothing as such to offer because it's right there at the off ramp. So in their way of thinking, they're just gonna keep going and just go use that rest area as opposed to the town pump. Or any of the other places as you come into town, not knowing that there's really anything for them to do or see, which there is a lot to do and see. So with the Chamber of Commerce, I visited with them. And then we went and asked for a bunch of signatures, which was great. We got 130 some signatures from the community. And what the idea now is, with that being said, in town halls also on board here, we want to forward it on, which is we're gonna make a determination right here, and if it's approved, then we're gonna move it forward onto our House representative, which then will be moved on to the Senate or Senator Beard, which will then draft to the Department of Transportation Director. And letting them know, because what's happening right now is these folks are not being given an opportunity to even show what they have or be seen. So we're hoping that they'll either move the sign, or if they don't, maybe they'll work something out that they will allow the folks to put some signage up, but maybe at a lower cost or something due to the mishap of this, because the other ones I've seen, like in Three Forks, they're a mile prior to the exit. This one is 5/10 of a mile, which is really short notice, and by that time you've already driven by. So that's the concern here. So I would first turn to you, Commissioner. Do you have any questions on my part?
I don't, I drove by there yesterday and I said exactly what you're talking about. It's confusing. There's like 3 signs right in a row, right before the exit. One happens to be I think it's got 2 businesses in Whitehall, one Subway, and I didn't notice what the other one was, but really, really vague for anybody wanting to know if the Whitehall has any services.
Right.
And then right after that, I believe is the rest area sign that says however many parking spots. And yeah, I think a change is needed. So if we can help that with a letter of support to maybe get the director's attention and say, go look at this, see if we can do better, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I would entertain any questions from the public. Does anyone have any questions? Or comment? Nope. Okay. Let's discuss and decide. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll move, we go ahead and write a letter of support to, is this gonna be to the director of MDOT or?
Yeah.
For this, to have them take a look at the rest area signage at the Whitehall interchange, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I have a motion. I would second that again because Commissioner Doolittle is not here. I would call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We got 6 minutes. What I'll do right now, and then we can just get into this at 2 o'clock. Okay. I'm gonna do introductions so everybody knows who we're all talking to. Commissioner Kirsch, Commissioner Haggerty, Helen Ock, who's our secretary, and County Attorney Steve Hadden in the corner back there. And then Bahia sort of heading us up on that. So Bahia, if you wouldn't mind doing your introductions, please, of who's all gonna be involved.
Sure. I'm Bahia Arrett. I am project coordinator for the Piedmont Wetland Restoration Project. So I'm here to help facilitate conversation today, depending on how that goes. We have Orson Tingy with Barrick and Jim Uranus with Golden Sunlight here. They can introduce themselves, but Golden Sunlight, Barrick is the landowner of the parcel in question south of Whitehall. Tom Harrington is here as chair of one of our subcommittees and has a depth of understanding of the project history and project goals. So he can help field questions as well. I don't know if you want context on the project or if Barrick
Give me,
wants to-
I just wanted introductions. We gotta wait the 5 minutes and stuff. I mean, because it's time specific, sorry. So. Other than that, I appreciate you all coming. Hope we can have some clarity here, so. Good to see you, Jim. I didn't know if you were coming.
I never know if I'm coming either, but
You just needed to change the pace, right?
yeah.
Excuse me.
So good. Okay. Trip up. Yeah, quick one. When was the last night? It's good. Always good to get up here. Always something to do.
There is, never is. All good stuff though.
Yes, it is.
Church. Guys, I can't believe those have to go up front.
Were you involved with the, South Campus out here, the Elkhorn Treatment Center, that whole lease loan, or not lease, but were you involved with that? I'll have to get a hold of you. We're redoing the lease on that and trying to figure out why they did what they did. But you're probably in the know.
Could be.
It's been 20 years since.
Been a
they've
while,
had it,
yeah.
So, yeah. So their 20th year's up now, so we're trying to figure out if we wanna do the same thing or.
There's some maintenance services and some things that could.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, cause their debt service is almost done, so things are changing right now.
Good.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Commissioner, I did receive an email this morning from Amy Tinney. They ran a conflict check, or she had their counsel run a conflict check, so I'll be reaching out to the other Amy, to see what we can do, get something moving forward.
Sounds good. I think you're close enough now, Mr.
I think so too. Okay, go ahead and call this meeting to order on, discuss and decide on being lead entity for Piedmont Pond Wetland Restoration Project, Golden Sunlight Mine. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, there is a parcel of land south of Hall, that encompasses a historic wetland footprint. Barrick owns that parcel. It's been managed by Fish, Wildlife and Parks for a little while. There's been discussion over the years about trying to restore that wetland to its historic footprint, to benefit wildlife, watershed, public access for recreation, hunting and education, economic stability of the region. And that project has gained stakeholders, momentum, funding. Lots of people are at the table trying to see how we can make that happen. And as landowners, Barrett would like to get an agreement in place that governs operation, management, and use of that land into the future, and is proposing Jefferson County as a lead entity on that cooperative agreement. They've drafted a document and would like to have a conversation with the commissioners about how you see the document wording, what needs you have, what thoughts you have on what that might look like and how we can move forward with it.
I guess I'd start with, our counselor, Haddon. Do you want to start off with any questions or you want to wait?
Well, the way I read this document, and I'll just start off with flat out how I view this document. This document, at least in part, does two things. Number one, it puts the county in the position of being a developer of a wetlands project, that we are responsible for basically the restoration that is to take place there, including oversight of all contractors, subcontractors, and ensuring that those folks comply with applicable regulations. The second thing it does is it puts the county in the position of basically being the manager of the finished project. Both of these requirements in this contract are going to entail county personnel, are going to entail county personnel who have absolutely zero experience in any of this. I recognize that we're probably going to get the comeback to say, well, we have other entities out there who are going to carry the load on this. But in the end, the ultimate responsible party in this is Jefferson County. And as I have told the commission earlier, after reading this, I cannot in good conscience recommend to the commission that we put ourselves not only in the position of a developer and of a restoration project, of which we have absolutely no experience. We do not have the personnel to oversee it. And then in the position of being a manager of this. The other part of this contract, and I don't say this in any critical way to our good folks from Golden Sunlight and Barrick, but there are provisions in here in which Golden Sunlight and Barrick candidly absolved themselves of any liability in any aspect for anything that would happen should this project be restored. That, in my reading, puts the onus, if something happens there, for liability perspective on the county. Final thing I will say is that this contract has a provision in it that it's an initial term of 10 years. It automatically renews for another 10 years absent 60 days written notice. It's unclear to me whether that 60 days written notice is 60 days prior to whatever the expiration date is, or if it's just within a 60-day period. That is unclear. And then there's a subsequent provision to, I guess it's just 2 years. Initial term agreement automatically renew up to an additional 10 years. As you guys have heard me say, I do not like automatic renewal provisions in contracts. I just don't like it. If you want to renegotiate at the end of a 10-year period, you renegotiate at the end of the 10-year period. So, Mr. Chairman, that's kind of your lawyer's position.
Thank you, Counselor. Okay, would you like to respond now? Or you're more than welcome to whoever wants to, or Tom, or
Yeah, I'll throw my little 2 cents in. So, Golden Sunlight has been very, has worked closely with the community in that, the Golden Sunlight or the Candlestick Ranch and the Piedmont have always been open to the public. And we feel that that the public is appreciative of that. And, that doesn't happen on most of our properties. In fact, none of the properties that we maintain throughout the US. This is kind of a unique situation, but we see the value in providing public access because it is appreciated by the community. And as we were contemplating this, and as the I'm going to call the working group approached us, we've been looking at this project for quite some time. But the working group now has been able to come up with a very strong group of supporters and those that can help initiate and move the project forward. And you're right in that how we perceived our interest in this project is that we did not want to be the hands-on. You know, we wanted to be able to contribute. Our contribution to the project would be allowing this to proceed on Barrick's property. But that we didn't feel that we wanted to be the managers of the project. And that includes the development, the planning, the construction, and then long-term management. Just, we don't, again, it comes down to personnel. We didn't feel that we had the personnel that could do this. Again, kind of, as you mentioned, you know, the expertise.
Exactly, and I can very much appreciate that.
Yeah. And so the expertise part of it that we envision is the working group that VIA is working with and has compiled. That they would ultimately be the ones who would be the managers and of the whole process. Including, you know, reaching out to the contractors, developers, and that long-term management. And so I think that's one of the big questions that we're coming to the table with too, is, yeah, what is the county's role? What is the county willing to do? And is it the entity that would be the other party in this agreement?
Was it my understanding at one time, or I know I asked you, but I can't remember if you were checking in, but as for the liability, and if that were the case, would the liability lie upon the county or like you're saying, the stewards? In this case, it would probably be the county, would it not?
Yeah, I would believe it'd be the county that would take on that role of liability. You know, we would still want to participate in the block management program. And so for the hunting and access through that program, you know, there's certain liabilities that are covered. And we're also looking at there's some additional programs from the FWP that we may be able to add this property to, that again would cover.
It keeps it open year round.
It's an open year
And
round.
RMA is what they
Yeah.
call it. Similar to like Plum Creek in the northern part of the state, their timber industry up there keeps the land open. It's not a block management per se, but it allows recreational opportunities on the land throughout the year.
And so that may cover, we don't have much information on that yet. We just found that out in our last meeting. So we're gathering that information. So there may be a certain level of liability that's covered under that also.
Cause I'll be honest, when I've been at the meetings, I must have misunderstood. I thought in the sense of looking for the county support was more so that you could obtain grants and all that through based on the entity of Jefferson County. Is that correct?
If I can interject, Commission, you know, this project's been around for quite a few years, the Piedmont wetlands development. Several years ago, we tried to get the thing going, and there was some question from the irrigators if it was actually the wetlands out there or if it was irrigation ditch leakage that was providing the water. You know, so we did the Bureau of Mines groundwater study out there for a couple of years, and they validated it wasn't in fact wetlands, and there's water that's there year round on it. And that was further reinforced with mapping and stuff long before the irrigation ditches were there. So this is kind of the reiteration of that group that tried to get it going several years ago. And we've had several meetings with that, with a lot of different stakeholders involved in the process on there. And the expertise is in there with the MEP guys, the watershed guys and all that who have experience doing it. The challenge they ran into was not having an entity that could be the face of the project, so that when you apply for grants, you had somebody that was there that could do that. Right now, as a working group, there really is no formal organization there. It's just like 20 some folks with all these different expertises that come in and want to do this. It's progressed quite a bit. I mean, just with the expertise with funding opportunities and restoration opportunities for wetlands. The working group has come together with quite a list of things that are a benefit to the area, as Valia mentioned, the educational piece out there, the habitat piece. And probably one of the bigger ones is the economic development piece. You think about wetlands, the wetlands down there, you have to drive through Whitehall before you get out there. And if you look at the economic engine that, wetlands provides, that would be a good shot in the arm for that end of the county down there. Plus providing access for people to come out and enjoy. And I would use an example of the Piedmont Ponds out there, which was done many years ago. That was barrack land, that, in conjunction with the sportsman group down, they put the Piedmont Pond in there. The 20 acres, and then donated that land to the Fish, Wildlife and Parks, and that's been a very popular thing. So this wetlands will be just kind of an extension right next to it there. So the big challenge is how do you find an entity that can take that on? And where the county kind of came to light was got a Parks Trails Commission necessarily kind of oversees a lot of the recreational things within the county here. And as the Piedmont wetlands got developed, you'd have that ongoing process out there. They would probably be a good entity you could kind of help oversee activities and things that were going on out there. So that was where the county venue kind of came in, was looking at them as being maybe a likely candidate to fulfill that role. I understand what Steve's saying. There's some other things that probably need to get sorted out on liability and what exactly the parameters of this working agreement would be on here, but that's how the county kind of got brought into it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have
Yes, Counselor, I was gonna turn to you anyway.
a couple of things come to mind. First of all, and I apologize profusely for this question because I'm going to ask about the state of Montana. But have you, I mean, I know there's been some mention of FWP here. Has there been any discussion of getting with the DNRC to bring them into this discussion? Because this seems to me kind of up their alley a little bit. Second question, since this is wetlands area, are we getting into the regulatory area of the Army Corps of Engineers?
I can try answering some of that. DNRC has been at the table and is still at the table, in the capacity, at least right now, of water rights. And there was a question whether restoration would, at whatever level of restoration would require water rights or impact water rights. And that's been ironed out with a determination that the proposed design isn't creating new wetlands. It's encompassed under enhancement and aligns with existing characteristics. So there's no water rights issue with DNRC. That's the level of engagement right now. I'm not sure how the state works with recreational management of a public, how DNRC specifically works with recreational or public access management of a private piece of land. Army Corps of Engineers, as far as I understand right now, and Tom or Orson and Jim may be able to flesh it out more, they are part of the permitting process with the design firm that's been contracted, and that firm is meeting all requirements that body would require, as far as I understand. I don't know if that fully answers your question, but those are some pieces that.
So DNRC's the table, they have been all along there. We had director of the water rights thing to get that resolved. That was a major hurdle where, the Corps of Engineers, just because you're dealing with water, they're gonna be involved in whatever goes on out there, Steve. Part of that is the wetland banking discussions that have been going on. That's all Corps of Engineers stuff too. So they're involved. I think one of the things that might be helpful is, we got several FWP guys on the working group and the committee there. And Jim, you might know the block management portion of that with FWP, what the agreements are for law enforcement, things like that, and, public access and how that relates to the public.
Yeah, I mean, I just know if we get onto the block management program, then the fish and game, the wardens will provide enforcement at those properties and per the rules on the block management. So, and I know that RMA that they were talking about is very similar. We can set the parameters and the rules on the property, however we want them, and then they come in and show the enforcement for them, so. I think that's a good situation for us if we could do something like that, but my opinion.
Anyone else?
No, and Mr. Chair, Commissioner Kurtz, just so we're clear here, I'm not here to put the Debbie Downer on this thing. And candidly, I'd like to see it. I can guarantee you my wife would love to see it because there's gonna be birds there. But this document is, it just puts the county in too much of a position for areas that are just not within in our wheelhouse. And if there's a way to mitigate that, via control with other people, I mean, I think back, Tom, to the weed, in the ditch or in the milfoil. That project that we had, we worked with Confluence. The county was basically a conduit for the grant money flowing, and Confluence was the driver of everything. They were the ones that made the contracts with the subcontractors to go and to do work. We had an overarching agreement with Confluence as to what county's responsibilities were and as to what Confluence's responsibilities were. That's potentially an option here. I don't know if we're at that stage yet. It sounds to me like, and I don't say this to be smart alecky, but it's the only thing that comes to mind. There's still some kicking the tires that needs to be done on this project to kind of get what is the scope of the project going to be, who are the players going to be, what is the responsibility for each party involved going to be, and how is that going to be carried out?
So I think there is a section here, number 5 on page 3, operation and maintenance. And even number 4, restoration plan, page 2, 3, where there are a lot of highlighted openings that just say party/parties right now. Do you see there being a possible workable agreement where Jefferson County is named, but a lot of these slots are filled in more concretely with responsible or liable parties who are taking on specific parts of the project?
Let me answer your question this way. I don't rule anything out. That being said, the caveat is I need to see it on a piece of paper in front of me so I can assess it. But sure, I'm not gonna stand in the way, if I think there's a workable solution here that, does not put onus on the county, where, we have no business playing in that pool. The liability aspect, I would be remiss as a lawyer if I said I don't watch out for the liability potential for the county, because like Barrick and Golden Sunlight, we are a target when it comes to litigation. It doesn't matter if we didn't have any fault at all, the fact that we have deep pockets and insurance policies out there, we're gonna get named.
Yes.
Just have a couple of comments. Having worked with the Parks, Trails and Rec for since its creation, we have run up against a few things. We have a trail in the north end right now We had a group, a nonprofit group that came in to help build that trail. They've since disbanded. The county was the one that helped get the grant for that trail, and now nobody's maintaining the trail. And now there's no group in place, they've disbanded. So where does that leave the county at? We've got other parks that we're trying to take care of. We don't have a program in place to take care of these things at this point. There's no talk of getting a program in place. And we've tried to keep facilities at those locations very minimal, so we don't have to do a whole bunch of work and maintenance, but it still costs us. And we have to come up with that money from somewhere. We have no open space bond like other counties have, where they have money coming in to help pay for these things. The other thing that comes to mind is Ash Grove has some kind of trail up there along the creek, along Prickly Pear Creek in Montana City. Has anyone reached out to them to ask how they're dealing with their situation up there? Who takes care of it? What other entities are involved? I mean, that could be an example for getting something going at the south end. I'm not against it. It's just the county doesn't have the mechanisms in place, and we just keep adding more and more, and we don't have the staff to deal with it. We don't have the money to deal with it, and we have no plan in place. So until we can get some of those things, we shouldn't be taking on anymore. We have parklands we don't even do anything with now.
Can I ask when you mentioned Confluence and the Rockwell project, is that a private firm? What's called?
Yeah, they're an engineering,
They're an
engineering firm out of Boston.
And what was their responsibility for that project? How did that
They
make?
basically oversaw it.
I think that's a good comment, Steve, because that's probably a good model there. Because the watershed group basically had to head that up, and we did all on the working with Confluence and coordination with on-the-ground stuff with the expertise. The county had the funding and stuff, so they were the entity that was, the money was funneled through, and then the watershed group pretty much handled the project.
And I'm not to say that the degree of work which will be required, at least in my simpleton way of looking at things, for this project will be anywhere near what Confluence did, because they did mapping and they were changing bank grades and because it had something to do with keeping sediment from flowing down into Jefferson too. And so there was a lot of dirt work that went into that, and I don't think that that's gonna be the case for this. There's certainly probably gonna be some, but not.
So, and that was for project implementation, what happened, who was responsible after project completion?
Well, the watershed group was, they had a contract with DNRC and stuff to do the sedimentation, so we oversaw the project. And then we closed it out through the county. The county was the fiscal responsibility. So,
It's not something that needs a bunch of maintenance afterwards, with a restoration project.
I think the wetlands be a lot the same way. They got quite a bit of work that'll be done on ponds, get the wetlands back into shape out there, but once you get it done, it's just gonna be a management to keep them up then.
So our executive committee is meeting on Monday, to go over some of the finer points. Would Jefferson County be open to considering a updated draft? Is that something that their Golden Sunlight would be comfortable doing?
After the discussion on Monday.
Yeah, if we sort of took some of this feedback, incorporated that into our discussion on Monday, and maybe came up with something that's drilled down a little more specifically, that might address some of these, could we come back to the commission with another draft for review?
Yeah, and that's how I see the process that we're going through now. It's just, because there are questions, there are unknowns that haven't been answered. And so this was just the first run. Here's what we're contemplating. But we still need to refine it.
And I wanna underscore too that it's great to hear county level voice put to these concerns. I don't think any stakeholder wants to burden the county with anything. I think this group is all in favor of making it an enduring, positive project that benefits the county. So if we can just keep having those opportunities to tune it and thread that path to get there. I think we have all the people and all the pieces at the table. So it just needs a take two. Yeah,
Steve, one of the comments you made about the automatic renewal on there, I think that was an FWP concern that, they're looking at duck stamp money on there for the actual funding for the project, and, they've got a pretty good track on that, but there was some, sustainability piece on having 20 or 30 years, so you didn't have just a short period to do the thing and then it goes away. So the automatic renewal kind of answered that question there with the FWP guys, but you got a longer period of commitment on the project out there, but $500,000-600,000.
But you have an out in there, which is kind of, that's where the but comes in. Everything before the but, you just cancel because there's an out provision in there that either party could take advantage of. I appreciate the explanation. And that, you know, a lot of lawyers like them. This is just Steve. After 35 years of doing this, I've read a lot of contracts.
and I know there is still exploration, as Jim said, about different Fish Wildlife Park recreational management programs that might be able to address some of the enforcement and liability responsibilities. I know even in terms of weeds, I think because it's a BMA, a block management area, 5% of the revenue from that is mandated to go to weed management. I know don't quote me on those details, but there are still finer level details that we are hoping to insert into here that might help take care of at least some of the pieces, and then we can focus in on the gaps that remain.
So has anyone contacted Fish, Wildlife and Parks to see if they will take this project upon?
Yeah.
Like long term.
Yeah, I think we're in the process. So like I said, we've spoken to certain staff that are exploring what Fish Wildlife Parks management programs exist that might fit management governance of this. As of our last meeting, I think those conversations and outreach to Fish Wildlife Parks is ongoing right now. I think our Parks Trails rep meeting last night brought up another option about, we spoke last night, you guys, about that Fish Wildlife Parks already manages and administers that fishing pond as an official fishing access site. Is there a way, and they're responsible for much of the management of that pond, is there a way of expanding that fishing access site designation to include more of this project where FWP would take on more of the management responsibility, enforcement liability of this footprint as well, including the trail link to town. So that's something that came up last night that we were gonna bring up on Monday as something to explore. But so yeah, I think this is all just the right timing for this conversation. And just needs a little bit more drill down.
Dealing with state agencies can be like sending information to a black hole.
So that's why you have
Not very prompt in responding.
well, that's why this project has a persevering project coordinator.
So counselors, at my understanding, then at this point in time, go back to the drawing board, take a look at it, and then they present what they have, or what are your thoughts about that?
No, I,
And see where we go from there.
as I think has been discussed, Mr. Chairman, there's gaps that need to be filled.
Correct.
It sounds to me like there's still entities out there who may or may not come into the, you know, maybe they're coming into the sandbox, maybe they're not. But I think for purposes of, for right now, that, you know, table this discussion for today. And then we proceed, you know, as information is required. Well, the problem is you're gonna send it back and forth between lawyers, which everybody knows is gonna mess things up.
Steve, you know, something be helpful. I wrote down a lot of your comments. I appreciate those comments, because whatever group has is gonna have the same questions there. I don't know if you've got a little, synopsis of notes or whatever you got that we could have for reference.
That was off the top. of
That
my
was
head.
it.
Just-
I can
just
do a
for-
summary, I've
just for
taken
that.
great notes.
Or if you think of anything else on there, because, these are all good pertinent questions that we need to answer, whoever the lead entity
Yeah.
is.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion from anyone? No? Okay,
I just want to say from Barrett Golden Sunlight standpoint, we appreciate everybody's comments today, and we had the same questions, okay, and this is why we're having this meeting, I think, right? So, as you can see on that cooperative agreement, it does say draft on there, so
Oh, yeah.
that's that's the whole point of it, right? So, just want to get some discussion out there, so, and we'll go from there.
Cause it's a big project and it's a worthwhile project. I think it'll be very beneficial to the community and the environment, so.
And I think it's been stated already, but just to again underscore it, if you take the project idea that exists, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and you see where it is now and who's at the table and all the pieces that have been brought there. It's so optimistic. So if, just give it a little bit more time and a little bit more discussion, I know it's gonna move. We're just, yeah, like you said, seeing how the pieces of the puzzle fit together, but we have the capacity in place to make that happen.
any other discussion? Okay, if not, I really appreciate all you guys coming in, and that's for the conversation, so. It says discuss and decide, so at this point in time, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move the table this, Mr. Chairman.
I second that. Any other discussion? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So be it tabled. And could everyone, when you leave, could anyone that came in sign that sheet back there, please? It's on the table prior to your departure.
Mr. Chairman, just one more.
Yes, sir.
procedural note. For future agendas, when we, down the road, when we have this on, because I suspect there's gonna be several more meet and greets on it. I think we just put a continued discussion of Piedmont Wetland Restoration Project cooperative agreement, however we wanna couch it.
Okay,
So we don't have a decide on there,
that'd be great.
until we get all the pieces together.
Thank you, Counselor. It makes sense to me. Any,
Just one more question,
Yeah.
Does Barrick have a deadline that they're working with to, just wanna get it right?
Yeah, we just want to get it right. Gotta be right for all parties, so. So yeah, we don't have a deadline on this, it's just we're moving it forward, and we'll.
Perfect.
We've got time.
anyone else? If not, we'll be adjourned. Thank you.